Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Look at that, it says TikTok. My, what is that all about? TikTok is worthless if I don't approve it.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. The ice hockey team's doing great. Ovechkin's pretty good, right? Some stupid things are happening. Oh, you're going to be happy reading newspapers tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative Intellectual Idiots, fostering political and cultural literacy. Bell the Body Snatcher, back on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
Why are you wearing that shirt?
Oh, because I love America, and I just spent all weekend long in virtual China on Redbook.
You know that shirt is
because my country can't tell me what to fucking do, so I'm gonna fucking moonwalk into communism and hang out with some Chinese in the Redbook app.
That is so bizarre because you're on like the commie app. Talk about the ultimate fucking censorship backfire with the United States trying to ban TikTok, but you're also wearing an American flag shirt, which is a Nazi dog whistle. So I don't understand what's going on in the world right now.
And also a defamation of our flag. So maybe
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
they love it though.
Take that, America. I'm wearing your shit. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking about that.
TikTok.
What do we have tonight, Corey? First of all, if you want to know if somebody is like I noticed this by watching a lot of the inauguration stuff on Monday. If you want to know whether somebody's a Trump supporter, just watch how they dance. Like if they can't dance, they're probably a Trump supporter. Did you see after Trump left the stage after the original inauguration speech, there was like people that were like waiting, I guess, inside the arena for the parade. I don't know what the hell was going on. They were jumping all over the goddamn place. I couldn't tell who the hell was where, but they would just show like 57-year-old Karens in the stage just doing like they're all doing like the Trump dance. Like, can anybody that supports Donald Trump dance? Anybody? You got to work on that. He's got to work.
Snoop Dogg was even though I've never even know if I've seen Snoop Dogg dance. He kind of just does that steering wheel thing.
It's true. Yeah.
Kid Rock was there though. He could dance.
Kid Rock can dance?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's videos of Kid Rock dancing. But pull that shit up. Find a video of Kid Rock dancing.
We really need to see
have fun. This is Trump's America now. Fuck it. It's like the game show Whose Line Is It Anyways, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
I'm so sorry you asked him to do that. Marco Rubio was confirmed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well,
bro, Kid Rock cannot dance.
What about like Kid Rock when he was like a rapper?
No, just a lot of bouncing around and
well, that's what dancing is. But like,
you've done a hell of a lousy job.
If that's considered, well, I guess this is true. But if what he does is dancing, then what we do is CNN. You know what I mean?
Well, that's offensive.
Yeah,
that one didn't land with me, and I'm
Nobody's ever been hit like that.
CNN, right?
Yeah, now I'm just uncomfortable.
little guys.
I want to see Belle act out Kid Rock's dance. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I asked. Don't do that.
Oh man,
Don't do that.
I had it in my heart. I was about to do it. I'm just kidding. I can't do that.
Did you guys see how the establishment is gonna get Tulsi Gabbard? You see how they're gonna get her?
No.
Yeah.
Apparently, somebody released some emails from 2017. I don't know if it's emails, some sort of correspondence. I didn't really read into it that much.
They're all from me.
Yeah. Working for the campaign. But no, apparently after her meeting with Assad in 2017, she did not report the visit properly and on time. So she met with Assad in 2017.
But that's already been talked about. Like that.
I know,
Yeah.
but apparently
that only would have been a big deal if she used her appropriated money for like her seat to like pay for it, like government money. But she paid for it out of pocket on her own dime and just went to the country. She didn't do anything illegal.
Also, to be fair, she did come back and she was like, "He's not that bad."
Yeah, right.
But she came back and said that, I don't know if she used those words. He's not. Well, yeah, she was like, she humanized him, if anything, which we should be humanizing everybody. But
that's when Barry Weiss went on Joe Rogan's show and called her an Assad
called her a toady,
and then couldn't define what a toady was.
Right.
Or wouldn't.
But no, she came back and she was like, I truly believe he didn't use chemical weapons. And it's pretty much all but debunked, right?
Yeah, she's a toady. She's a toady. And Assad. So I gotta find that. I gotta find that clip of Barry because this is just too fucking hilarious. Here we go. I got it. I was quick on this one, boys.
How do you say this word?
If I can figure out how to goddamn share it, I've been doing this long enough. You think I could figure this out by now? There it is. They call her a New York Times writer. Here we go. This was so good. It's so insufferably stupid.
What's with him?
Oh, I don't know who can beat him. I don't know who can beat him. Who do you think can beat him?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm so worried.
Duh.
Yeah, but I'm so worried she's going to run again. She's going to muscle her way to the top.
I don't know who can beat him right now. And I don't know.
Why do you think that?
Right, and the question, right, is
as
like
things keep going further and further south. What about someone who is a centrist Democrat? Doesn't that make more sense? That someone who's a rational person who's on the right is going to look at this person who's maybe economically conservative but socially liberal and say this is really
unless they run someone on the far left and like on an identity politics platform. That's what scares me.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Well, could it though? Because
I don't think so.
I don't know, because Trump's whole thing was screw the Senate. I just need to make my base go ape shit crazy for me.
But they're still ape shit crazy, no matter what.
I know, and I'm worried that the left, the Democrats are going to try and replicate that strategy and be like, we just need to make our base go ape shit crazy, rather than running someone that can win the center.
I see where you're going, but I think that
boring conversation.
This is maybe my liberal bias, but I think that people on the left wouldn't fall for that the same way people on the right would. I don't think people on the left who saw
when he talks about his liberal bias,
woke, far left. I think there's a lot of people in the center be like, "Well, I'm just gonna vote libertarian, man. I'm gonna vote for Gary Johnson or some shit."
But okay, so who's in right now? So we have Kamala, Kirsten Gillibrand. Monstrous ideas.
What a monstrous idea.
Well, when she was 22, she had.
No, she's an Assad toady.
What does that mean?
She is
What's a toady?
I think that I used that word correctly. Jamie, can you check what toady means?
Like toeing the line? Is that what it means?
No, I think
I can't judge her on that. That's the type of shit I do all the time. But I come off more humble, I guess.
What does that mean?
As pompous as Barry Weiss once was.
I think it means.
That's wild. Like
but you wouldn't make that claim so drastically. Again, like I can't find my words right now.
Confidently.
Confidently without knowing what the fuck that word means.
Yeah.
She's so embarrassed.
Toady,
Look at her.
definition
She's like chewing on her pen.
A person who flatters or defers to others for self-serving reasons.
No, you didn't.
A sycophant.
Didn't use it right at all.
So she's an Assad sycophant. Is that what you're saying?
That's where I actually
that's
kind of
can
have sympathy for her, because like if you look at my writing versus like my speaking, There looks like a 20 or 30 point IQ difference there.
About her.
Because I could take the
Like,
time.
what did she say that, that
We have to look.
qualifies
I
her?
don't remember the details.
We
I've read
probably
it.
should say that before we.
So she goes in and she goes, Tulsi Gabbard is an Assad toady, and this is known. And Joe goes, well, what did she say that makes her an Assad toady? I don't remember. It's just like so confident.
That's an example of falling for propaganda.
Say that about her. We should probably read it rather.
Well, I have read it.
No, I mean,
I
we
just-
should right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just so we know what
Oh,
she
okay.
said.
Look up
I've had her
Tulsi
on
Gabbard.
here
Dude,
before.
dude,
I really enjoy
she
talking
was
to her. I
okay
like
with
her a
it
lot.
because
Are you
Joe
serious?
just
Yeah, I like
saved her.
talking to her.
Okay.
I love-
You know what I mean? Joe just saved her. Oh yeah, for the audience, obviously. What the fuck?
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's all it's for. It's not for me. I'm not the fucking idiot.
I'm
Okay.
talking to her. I
Dude,
don't
it's
know
wild
about-
because, well,
I think she's like the.
because I like Barry Weiss now, but I remember this
Most-
shit.
Yeah,
You know,
this
most
is
of her
bad.
stuff, yeah, like she's because she, and the best you're gonna get from someone is just admitting that, like, yeah, you know, I was kind of duped. I'm trying now, like a Cuomo. You're still not okay with Cuomo. I've given him a lot of credit for where he was till now. Like when I was watching the inauguration, I watched the inauguration with Cuomo on News Nation. I didn't watch it on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News. And dude, he was honestly being pretty fucking objective. And he had people on his panel from the left and the right. And one of them, Biden was coming in, you know, and who else didn't have their wife come? Someone else's wife didn't come to the
Big Mike. Big Mike Obama didn't show up.
And yeah, God damn it. No, that's what you're gonna make people think that we're a show that we're not.
I'm just kidding. Michelle Obama, she's a beautiful woman. She didn't show up to the inauguration. She also seems like a little bit of an anchor. But go ahead.
But they were there, and then like they came in without their wives or whatever, and someone mentioned it, and then Cuomo was like, yeah, but come on. He's like, this isn't the first presidency where people's wives didn't show up. It's happened before. It's happened all the time. The only reason they're even bringing it up is because of who the president is. And it's like, that makes pretty good sense. You know, like, it's like, wow. And then there was something else he said, but like, it was just the subtle things that like are just tiny little like micro insertions that people put like just because of their biases and forming a narrative is just everywhere.
I knew you
And
were going
that's
to bring
not
this
unique
back
to
around.
America. And it's not unique to America. It's unique to everywhere. But
You're
and it was
very,
just
very kind to Barry Weiss.
and
right
Barry
now.
Weiss. Well, Barry Weiss now. Well, very, very recently, it's gotten a little rough. You know.
Yeah, because
But-
ask her about Israel, and she'll just spew propaganda all throughout her entire. She'll spend
Right.
all the time spewing propaganda. You want to
Well,
finish? You want to finish watching her make a fool out of herself on Joe Rogan over Tulsi Gabbard?
I guess.
You really don't want to see this, but I fucking do. It's
Motherload
great.
of bad ideas.
Whoa.
Motherload. No,
I'm pretty
Motherload.
positive about that.
You think she knows the
especially
definition
on
of
Assad,
motherload?
But maybe I'm wrong.
Probably.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Well, my take on her was
no
that
clue.
I think as a person who's coming from the left, who's also a veteran and is very articulate and sensible and a woman, and in talking to her, we didn't get into Assad or any of those things, but talking to her about what she feels is wrong with the current administration and the way things are running and a direction she thinks things could go in. She had some very promising ideas. I didn't know about this.
But doesn't she also, did she ever apologize for believing in conversion therapy? For
I didn't even know she believed in conversion therapy.
Yes.
Am I
Yes,
crazy?
she did.
Is that real?
Yes,
I'm
you're
almost
crazy.
positive this is real. I think her father ran like
when you
a
say
center
conversion therapy,
for
you're talking
gay
about gay people.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that. I never heard that.
I'm-
I did hear something about when she was very young. She was like
I'm looking
20.
She is so confident that Tulsi Gabbard is a monstrous person and doesn't know the first thing about her.
22.
Yeah.
She had said something about gay marriage and civil unions
what I see
that she
about
apologized for and said that she
Assad.
evolved. She reveals she met Assad in Syria without informing top
I'm
Democrats.
telling you, she's
She said she went on a fact-finding
She's what?
mission in support of peace for
Shut up,
Syrian
Joe. I
people.
want to hear
but
Barry make an idiot
characterized
out of herself.
U.S.-backed rebels as terrorists.
Stop talking over the woman, damn it.
yeah, she's. I mean, hold on.
She even looks
I can
uncomfortable.
keep looking, but I just
I'm telling you.
Joe Jamie comes in
Yeah.
to save the
Yeah.
day.
I can come back on when I
Okay,
know
but
more.
let's
Oh
we can
yeah,
do this another
when you
time.
know
Okay.
more.
But who do you think stands out for you as someone that would make a good president?
Yeah, she once touted working for an anti-gay group that conversion therapy. Anyway,
She once touted working
Anyway,
for an anti.
she worked for an anti-gay group.
She worked for them, like she had a job there.
But here's what's
More-
crazy, Ben.
It's just
Dan,
like
here's
it's
what's
like, it's
crazy.
like, where is she pulling this from? I mean, she's not wrong. She's right. Tulsi Gabbard did do those things. But go
Right.
ahead. Right.
What's crazy is like, well, at this point when they're having this conversation, she changed her mind. I'm not exactly sure where her mind is. You know, as one person I would love to meet for a third time would be Tulsi Gabbard, and just say real quick,
there's
like, hey,
There's a name drop. You dropped your name in there, but it was still a name drop.
well, right, just because, well,
You're
I
not
didn't
that
mean to.
smart.
I'm just
I know
saying,
what's going
just
on.
to
You're
say,
showing
just
off
to-
on friggin' TV again.
no, just to see, like, hey, so where do you lie now? I'm like, because like my views have changed since then. I know yours fucking have, at least on fucking Fox News. But where do you stand on some of these other issues, right? I'm just curious to see, like, then, like, it's like not bashing you, just it's growth. And what led you to those? Like, I probably wouldn't get that much time, but boy, I sure would just love to sit and have a beer with Tulsi Gabbard. I'll tell you what.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Don't you know?
See that sign back there? It says "Aloha, Corey."
Yeah. And then she went like a little bit too Trump, and then you kind of
Yeah,
kind
then
of
I'm just like,
understand
what the
why she
fuck?
did it. Anyway, I, honestly, that Tulsi Gabbard thing, I just wanted to make fun of Barry Weiss for a minute, just for a minute.
Who actually has it's one of the better podcasts out there with, honestly. And
Yeah.
what she's doing in Texas with the free press and that university, like,
No, well, that's the
God's
thing is
work.
like Barry. That's why Barry frustrates me so much, because she is. I don't think she's a decent journalist, but I don't think she's that brilliant at the same time. I think she's like a hard worker and she does a pretty good job for the most part until you get her on Israel. And when she gets on Israel, I just turn it off. Like, I can't listen to her speak.
I'm
for
trying to
5
think-
seconds on Israel.
And so this is so just anecdotal evidence. I'm trying to think of something that I wouldn't want to talk about because I feel like I would have too much bias for. And
School choice.
I can't.
And we move on.
No, not school choice. You know what it'd probably be? Trying to take the hill for all men when you hear a girl talking about men. And it's like, well, wait, hold on.
Ooh, look at that.
But,
It's just TikTok.
But it's like it's a losing battle every time. You just gotta just be like, yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not like those ones, right?
You can pick your spots if they're just
But
open.
then you go and then you say, trust me, you'd be safe with me in the woods. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just met
Well,
you.
the thing about it is like you're married, so it's like who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like
Well, it's different now.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, right? With the inauguration, since we were on that topic, kind of went off on tangent there, but
Well, I haven't
Me and
even
my
got to
wife,
my
we were
opening
watching-
remarks yet.
oh yeah, go ahead. Then we'll.
No,
get
you're
back to the
good. Tell
inauguration.
your story because you have ADD and I don't want you to see a squirrel. Go for it.
And so me and my wife were watching the News Nation, right? And then I was like, I wonder what MSNBC is saying right now. And I switched to MSNBC. And we just got done watching Trump's speech, like his inauguration speech, like the first one, on News Nation. And me and my wife watched it, and then 20 minutes or so go by, we're watching News Nation, and I think Chris Koma goes, so there's definitely going to be some
These
things in there that
idiots
the left
on cable
onto.
news.
That there's definitely gonna be some shit that the left is gonna grab onto, and then they were just talking about it and stuff, and then you go to MSNBC and it's just he gave this divisive speech and da da da, and I look at and I say to my wife, and at this point she's not really paying much attention. She's in the kitchen where she
Smart
should
girl.
be. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She just happened to be in the kitchen, okay. And I was like, so do you see this shit? Austin, do you
Can
see
you
how they
qualify
fucking
that?
do you see how they fucking just spin a narrative? And she goes, yeah. She goes, and my wife's like a pretty big feminist, right?
Sure.
And
She's a woman.
she
can be.
goes,
She's allowed.
yeah, that's allowed, right? That's what I mean. Like as a guy, like I can't. That's something I'd be too biased about trying to defend. But anyways, So they're going off and off and off, and my wife goes, "Yeah, the speech wasn't that divisive. I'm not sure what they're talking about." And I said, "You see this, Austin?" I'm like, "Why the fuck are they making us defend Trump?" And my wife, in her undying wisdom, says, "Well, they're not making us defend Trump. They're just making us defend the truth."
Ooh, profound.
Right, right. And I was like, "I'm glad I married you." Like you, you son of a bitch.
You just realized you were glad. Good for you, buddy.
No, she's always
just
like,
bullshit.
But yeah, she said that, and I was like, you know what? You're fucking right. And the truth is way bigger than Trump. It's like it's not about Trump. It's the truth.
Yeah, and he did, he did what Trump does and spewed a lot of bullshit. But like I said, like I've always said, there's a lot of you have to see through that. You know what you can and that's what MSNBC doesn't do. They don't like look through that. They don't look through the WWE character that is Donald Trump. Just put the bullshit in a box over here. It doesn't fucking matter. It's kind of funny. Who cares? It's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, me and her were sitting on the couch just cracking up because you got to see so much Trump. And he's just like he's on stage and we were just on the helipad saying bye to the Bidens. We were out there. I thought Melania was gonna blow away because of her hat. And he goes, and he's like, they went to the helicopter. That's tradition, it's
my boy over at the
he goes, wait, real quick. He goes, that's tradition, it's tradition ever since probably ever since they had helicopters. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
My boy over
like we're about to get fucking 4 years of this. And he's had more press conferences in his 2 days than Trump and then Biden had in 4 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he even had the media in the fucking Oval Office on night 1 as he's signing executive orders and just
answering
going
questions
back and forth at the media.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Like we didn't see that for 4 fucking years, dude.
I have to make this one comment on Melania's hat though, because it was so good. My boy over at the Drew Lane show over here in Detroit goes on the air today and he goes, I think Melania was wearing that big ass hat as like a blocker. It's like an anti-kiss blocker, so she didn't have to make out with Trump during the proceedings. Just trying to keep him away. It's like a buffer. Right. What else did I have in my rundown here, Corey? Biden and Trump handing out pardons like Mardi Gras beads. Like it's as Biden's leaving and handing out just all these blanket preemptive pardons that were so bad that Trump was going to do this when he left in 2020. He was going to pardon his whole family and all of his buddies. He didn't do it. Didn't do any of it. And Joe Biden comes out and pardons Anthony Fauci, the J6 committee, and a bunch of his family. And what I find fantastic about this is that number one, and this is key because like this can kind of still be saved to where Biden can go, well, I did it because I thought Trump was going to, use the justice system against them, which, for these people, every accusation is an admission of guilt. But you actually, if you receive a pardon, you do have to accept it. Right. So like these people could all reject these pardons and it could just be like a matter of like signaling of some kind. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And according to long-standing American jurisprudence, people who accept pardons are actually admitting some form of guilt.
Well, yeah, that's just because everyone knows that. Like, why would you need a pardon? Would you if
well, because Corey, Trump is going to use the justice system as a weapon. You don't know this by now. Have you been in a box for the last 8 years? What's the matter with you?
It's more of a rectangle.
Jesus.
Shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe Silvia. You gotta be kidding me. I got bags full of Pepe.
Shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little bit deeper. That's my other poster. Got old. Fucking Charlie up there.
We have to pretend Elon Musk is a Nazi now. That's the newest thing we're supposed to do.
I am not going to use any of my energy to try to explain away him doing something that looked a lot like a Nazi salute.
Sure, it did. It did
But
look like
I
it.
also, look uncomfortably like a Nazi salute.
Ew, gross.
like at best he's a dumbass. At worst, he did do the Nazi salute, right? But I'm also not outraged by it at all. I don't really think that it was like I don't know. There's so for context, I'm back on TikTok as well. There's a lot of autistic people on TikTok defending him right now.
That is not what I expected you to say.
And so, I mean, obviously the algorithms, you watch one video of an autistic talking about autistic's people's mannerisms, education, right? Explaining their mannerisms and their social cues awareness and things like that. And so you watch one, and then all of a sudden there's just a bunch of them, and a lot of them are
So,
oh,
Corey,
yeah, he's
can I ask you this question? Was Elon Musk dog whistling autistic right wingers with that salute? That's what it sounds like you're
funny.
saying.
I did say to my wife, I'm like, you know what? We might have to research the because the day before we were talking about
the autistic voter base.
No. So the other day we were talking about how the health and fitness pipeline leads to a right pipeline or an alt-right pipeline thing. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I go to the gym.
The algorithms. The algorithms. You know what I'm right? No, you get what I'm saying. The algorithms push that shit. The algorithms push that shit. Then all of a sudden it starts feeding right-wing shit into watching your health videos on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. And I said to my wife, I'm like, I wonder if there is an autism to right-wing pipeline as well. Or is there not? And then she's like, no, there's a bunch of autistic people who are liberal and left. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. So we didn't do any research because we didn't need to, but
you should have.
Yeah.
You should have done a little research.
Someone sees
I will.
Don't do your own research, Corey. Or Bell.
But
oh, shit, buddy. I got to dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe. Sonny, you got to be kidding me. I got boxes full of Pepe.
But yeah, he's a grown-ass man. I'm not going to defend him. I'm not going to say definitively. It's like watching a 30-second cop video and then being like, oh yeah, I know exactly what happened here.
Clunky, awkward. Yeah, it was all those things. But imagine if it's flipped, right? Imagine if we go back to 2020 and Elon Musk is at the Biden inauguration and he does the same gesture and says, "My heart goes out to you." What's the narrative then?
Yeah. Well, it would be the same, but it would just be conservatives.
Yeah, the right wingers would be like, "Steve, they're not. He's over there."
I told you they're fascists. Yeah,
they're the real. They're the real
KKK is Democrat Party.
We now have the Gulf of America. Hillary even found that funny. By the way, when Trump first took the podium for his inaugural address, was anybody just staring deep down into Bill Clinton's mouth? His mouth was wide open for the whole speech.
He was gaping. Bush, George Bush looked like he was a third grader at a Christmas play.
Yeah,
fidgeting and just smiling and just not staying still, just sitting there, just happy to get out of the house.
Your mom's dead, George. She's not watching you. She's not watching you today.
I know she's out there somewhere. She's out there to watch me do my song.
Oh, and what was the guy's name? Is it Charles? Go ahead.
Another thing I wanted to say was since we were talking about Melania's clothes or whatever with her hat, she looked like Raiden from Mortal Kombat. First off. But her dress style, it's wild. Her fashion, I found the perfect way to explain it. It's a 57 Bel Air, Chevy Bel Air.
Yeah,
and it's just classy. It's very classy. It's very crisp. The lines are bold, but there's curves.
Elegant.
She's
also hot. She's also hot.
It's just 57 Bel Airs are just one of the most beautiful cars ever made, and she just her fashion, it was just so fucking sharp and clean.
Here's Corey being a misogynist, comparing a woman to an automobile.
I'm not objectifying her. I'm talking literally about the stuff she's Corvette on aesthetically. I guess is that misogyny comparing a woman to a car? No, it's just
67 Corvette.
Not her. I was talking about her fashion.
Okay. Right.
I bet you she would take that as a compliment.
Then what's Jill Biden? If Melania is 57 Bel Air. No, Jill Biden. Is she like an 86 Pinto?
So
no, that's Hillary.
I don't have an answer for that, but Biden probably does.
My 67 Corvette.
Yeah, that's why he married her. She's such a monster. Did you see them? Was it Bell who sent us the meme earlier today of the selfie of Jill and Joe, and it just said taking him to put him down today?
Yeah, taking to put him down today.
Jesus Christ.
Chris Congo says we've gotten more transparency from Trump in 2 days than Biden's whole presidency. We said that. Like, we got more press conferences out of Trump in 2 days than we did. Now all of it good.
I mean,
2 years.
You can't really deny that. And then all the establishment media can do is talk about like, well, he moved the inauguration inside because he was afraid of crowd size being too small. Like, it's just all these stupid ad hominem attacks.
It was cold as shit is the official narrative. It's cold as shit, but I also think it was a security. I'd be willing to pull out the tinfoil hat and say there might have been a security issue.
There's already been 2 attempts on his life. I mean, come on, man. Like it would make complete sense if that were.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to walk down the street like he did last time.
Did you see who's the guy that was giving him all the executive orders to sign? I think his name is Charles Ezel. He's the acting director of office personnel management. He's the one like announcing the executive orders and handing them to Trump during the time in the Oval Office when he's at the Resolute desk, and he's trying you can tell he's just trying to get through this. Like, he would be like getting ready to read the next one, and Trump would just have to go back and forth with the media. He's just like,
he would stop mid signatures to start spouting shit off.
Yeah, and he just wanted, like, you could tell this Charles guy just wanted to go to bed. Like, he was just so exhausted. He just had a really, really long day. He's growing very, very impatient.
Dude, yeah, just watching him, like, it's wild just how like you could just get into the mind of Trump just because of the way he talks and stuff like that. Like, if you remove just thinking he's an idiot and you're just trying to figure out like what he is trying to say. Like, there was one part someone asked him which country you're going to visit first, and he's sitting there and he goes, I don't know what country I would visit first. I visited Saudi Arabia the last time. They offered to spend $450 billion on American goods to bring to their country. He goes $450 billion on American goods. So yeah, I went there first. He goes, maybe I'll go there again if they do that again, but this time I'll ask for 500 billion because of inflation. Like, what the fuck are you saying, dude?
Donald Trump is a bad guy. He's a bad person.
He throws them all off guard. It's wild.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
I feel really bad for all of like the 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds who were too young to realize it. They just heard people say he sucked and didn't really grasp living with him as president. And now, because there's a lot of people in America who are freaking out because they didn't deal with this once, maybe we're just shell-shocked.
I mean, you got to admit, Inauguration Day, other than like Rachel Maddow melting down and like complaining about crowd size and whatever, it was a relatively uneventful day. I mean, it was eventful in that we saw
Musk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Musk being all clunky with his hands. But I mean, it was a relatively uneventful day. There wasn't any like crazy like shoe throwing or anything like that. It was eventful in that like we got a deeper look into day one of a presidency than I think we've ever seen before in American history, which I think was by design. And by the way, I think it was fucking brilliant. I think it was absolutely brilliant bringing the media into the Oval Office as soon as he got there while he's signing these executive orders and just fucking talking to the media. I mean, it was almost like watching an athlete after a big game, just talking to the media in the locker room like they do.
Yeah.
Not even a press conference, but just talking to the media in the locker room. I thought that was interesting. I actually love that. I think that should be, Trump or whoever it is, doesn't even matter. Like, that should be the norm going forward for whoever is president.
Yeah. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of FDR, like during the Depression, when every single day he came on the radio and talked for at least a half hour.
It was his fireside chats.
He did, you know what I mean? It's just, whether you agree with Trump or not, it's at least good to know what the fuck he's up to.
Where he lied to the American people day after day after day about government spending. FDR's a monster. Like, we can have that discussion another day, but FDR is
wait, that's why you think he's a monster?
No, it's more than that.
Not because of the internment camps.
Yeah, no, he was a tyrant. He was one of the 3 worst presidents in the history of the United States. I firmly believe that. We can have that discussion another day if you'd like. What else do I have? Trump was like an 8-year-old on Christmas while he was signing those executive orders. I was just like, ooh, he's like, he was opening the next present. He's like, ooh, that's a big one. This is a big one.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Like a child on Christmas Day. Like, oh, wow, TikTok. Wow, I got the new TikTok, guy.
Ooh, look at that. It says TikTok.
And then, there was some bad, we're going to have another huge wasteful infrastructure bill. Did you guys see that Barron? We'll get into that in a minute.
Hey, Bell, real quick. That investment bill, I don't know if you know the answer. Is that it considered America investing? Is that what he's calling it? Where it's basically the government spending another $500 billion?
He'll find it.
Or is
it'll be
private companies investing and it's just him,
pushing for that? Yeah, find that, Bell, because we're actually going to come back to that in probably like 2 minutes.
I was going to say, from what I know, it's literally just giving companies money to research AI.
Government subsidies. So your tax dollars.
Right, tax dollars. But it is so that we can develop it before enemy nations or opponents can develop it.
See if you can dig in a little bit more, because we're gonna dive back into that in a couple of minutes, Bell, and get back with us on that.
Copilot tells me the new AI infrastructure bill, known as the Stargate project,
we're just going to do it now.
Funded by private sector investments. The initial investment is $100 billion, with plans to expand to $500 billion over the next 4 years. The key investors include OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, with additional contributions from Microsoft, NVIDIA, ARM, and the Middle East AI Fund MGX. This massive investment aims to build data centers across the United States, starting with Texas, and is expected to create over 100,000 jobs.
Like the guardian!
It is privately funded. Yeah, the AI is definitely going to do that.
That means my NVIDIA stock is about to rocket again. I'm loving it. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi.
I'm also reading that something that Corey mentioned the other day in the private chat, or when I don't even remember, we were all talking, but it's the mRNA vaccine for cancer. They think that the AI will develop that. So my guess is that they want to sell that shit.
Oh, well, yeah, they did. They mentioned using a new AI program to create vaccines.
Yes.
You know who's gonna fight? You know who's gonna fight that hard? Big Pharma, baby. A lot of money. No. He'll probably be all for it, because he's for going for legitimate cures, as to where big pharma's like, we make a lot more money if people are sick.
So here's what's interesting, though, because they were talking about making unique vaccines using AI for individuals. Not just a blanket vaccine they give to everyone. And that was for cancer, they were saying.
By the way, I just had this at the bottom of my sorry to turn it. We'll come back to it. But I just found this at the bottom of my opening remarks. I did not look into this. I just heard it in passing, and I want to make sure it's bullshit. I hope it's bullshit. Maybe Bell can find it for us. Is there any legitimacy to this $750 from the federal government for tipping off the feds on illegal immigrants? That sounds like bullshit, but it
is bullshit.
Anything's possible. Is it bullshit? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, we don't want that. That's bad juju.
Yeah, they're not going to pay up anyways. You saw the person who ratted out Luigi Mangione. Mangione. What was I going to say? We were talking
that's
about
all bullshit.
Oh, the AI thing or whatever. But you know what's so funny? I was thinking about this too. Is like what's gonna make this like $500 billion actually go further and do all this shit is Biden's like infrastructure bill and CHIPS Act.
Mm-hmm.
Which was paving the way to do this shit in the first place. And Trump's gonna come in and take credit for fucking all of it.
Every ounce of it. Well, and what's
Democrats
funny is like
are gonna lose their fucking minds.
No, here's the thing, they won't, and that's why the Democrats suck so bad at politics right now, because that is something that they could actually point to and be like,
right now,
Biden started this. But what are they going to do? They're going to stick to identitarianism.
They're going to stick to the salute.
Shit like that. Exactly. Yep.
So here we go.
Right.
This is from Fox News. As a candidate in 2016, Trump promised to push a $1 trillion infrastructure bill through Congress. He talked about the topic as president often during his first term from 2017 to 2021, but it did not come to fruition. Former President Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law in 2021 with Republican and Democrat lawmakers to fund thousands of projects to rebuild roads and bridges and fund new climate resilience and broadband initiatives. The second Trump administration and the new Congress will have opportunities to put their stamp on the infrastructure law Biden passed. Agency officials will be able to award tens of billions of dollars in remaining competitive grants, Brookings Institution said in a blog in November.
Yeah, that's fair. And instead of pointing to that, they're going to stick to identitarian bullshit. That's what the Democrats are going to do. And they're going to lose. They're going to lose again. I mean, unless there's a big change, but I don't, I'll believe the big change when I see it. Did I have anything else in my opening remarks? I don't think any of the three of us have been keeping up on the ceasefire because I personally have just been too distracted by Elon's Nazi salute.
Updates of the ceasefire? I think there's been a couple of prison releases.
Yeah, there was a hostage exchange today.
There's just no time for silly things like wars.
I did see a headline that Israel did open fire in Jenin or something like that.
Yeah, they shot some people I think they said 6 people in Gaza.
So that's the ceasefire started. So
what'd you guys think of this? What'd you guys think of the inauguration speech overall? Because to me it was surprising. Like, I'm talking about the first one, because the arena one after the quote unquote parade was much better.
His weaves and all that shit. Yeah.
Much more Trumpian. It was kind of sounded a little bit like Jeb Bush in that first one. Other than the beginning, when all of the establishment had to sit directly behind him and just listen to him shit on them for the first 5 minutes of the speech. They're all right behind him. Honestly, I have never rooted more for an old man to let out an accidental fart than I was rooting for Trump to do at that particular moment. If you just crop dusted the shit out of all the establishment people behind him, it would have been
fantastic. Talking and all of a sudden
straight up McDonald farts.
It would have been so. You guys want to watch the beginning of it? You want to watch it and comment? I have it. We can comment on it a little bit. I'll leave it up to you.
At first, I didn't know if he was all. I didn't know if he was all like low toned because of the Sudafed, but I thought it was pretty decent.
Well, Sudafed generally gives you a little bit of extra energy. I don't know.
It's like alcohol, man. You take a couple shots, you take 6, 7 shots, you're like,
I got it kind of queued up to where he actually starts speaking. But like, look, hold on. Before I even start playing it, look at Bill Clinton's mouth. Why is it wide open? Like, what is he doing?
That's just how he looks now.
So is he just merging into, is he just morphing into what Jimmy Carter was? Like Jimmy Carter just passed on his mojo to Bill Clinton, where he's just going to sit there with his mouth wide open going,
is he the current? No, Biden's the current oldest president, isn't he? He's older than Bill Clinton.
I believe he is. Fact check that
Trump's
for us,
older
Bell.
than Biden.
Fact check that for us. Is Biden older than Clinton? Who's the oldest? Is it Trump, Biden, or Clinton? No, Biden's older than Trump. I know that for sure.
Yeah, and he's older than Clinton. I think Trump and Clinton are the same age.
The golden age of America begins right now.
Vivek in the back. He's already gone.
From this day forward, our country will flourish.
There it is.
And be respected again all over the world.
Nice bass to it. Good
We'll
push.
be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will.
Bill Clinton's 4 years younger than Biden, by the way.
America.
That's what
first.
I thought. Just farting up a storm back there. It's crazy. Wild.
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced.
Oh, fuck. Jamal Bowman.
Somebody pull the fire alarm. Get out!
Of the Justice Department
Jamal Bowman's there.
Will end.
Pull the fire alarm.
Forever to say nothing.
And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free.
Oh, that would have been a good part spot.
America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before.
Ever before?
Yeah, I think
I
we were
return
pretty
to
high
the
point when we killed
presidency
Nazis.
confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A
Trump and
tide
Bill
of
Clinton are the
change
same
is
age.
sweeping the country. Sunlight
is.
is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
Well, you're not that smart.
But
I know what's
first, we
going on.
must
You're
be
just showing
honest
off on
about the
friggin' TV
challenges we
again.
face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust.
Come on.
For many years,
just
a
cracked.
radical and
President is
corrupt
speaking.
establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
Fucking white.
It's just bullshit.
Fucking
And other
white
states who
people.
are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we are watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen.
That's crazy.
Everyone is unable to do anything about it that's going to change.
Look at Biden's
We have a
crashed in the
public health
background.
system that does not deliver in terms of
They
disaster.
really
More
need to
money
have
is
this
spent on
angle
it
the whole
That part
time.
right
in
there.
any country, anywhere
So
in the
that
world.
part right there, when he
And we have an
kind of goes,
education
yeah,
system that
and
teaches our children.
it's no one can do anything about it, and it's pretty wild. I think that's when he loses his spot on the teleprompter, because then he clicks right back into talking.
He's not a teleprompter
He just knows.
guy.
He just knows not to have dead air.
Children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them.
The best is when he reveals
all of
that
this will change starting
he goes,
today,
wow, that's
and it will
exciting.
change very quickly.
He's reading something about the teleprompter. Biden would just say "end of quote."
Yeah, he would.
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of
These people are all right behind him
that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
Is it? It's great again. Look at Joe.
He's like,
Kamala is.
You're right.
Kamala,
you're right.
Kamala is.
Kamala
is
will no
pissed.
longer be
She's just
denied,
like,
and we will immediately
Yeah, because
restore
Biden
the
keeps
integrity,
coming out saying that he
competency,
thinks he
and
could have
loyalty
won.
of America's
Yeah.
government.
And
Over
she
the
has
past
to
8
sit
years,
next
I have
to
been
him.
tested and challenged
She
more
wants
than
to be
any
there less
president
than
in
Big
our
Mike.
250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not
he was
been
pointed the right
an easy
direction
one,
that time.
that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear.
Ew, gross.
But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by
His
God
ear looks great.
to make America great again.
it was Jesus. Jesus was there. Everybody stands except for the crew. And Doug Emhoff. Doug Emhoff stood up. Oh, I bet Kamala did not like that very much.
Barron's still sitting.
Thank you very much.
I don't think I've ever seen Barron smile. He looks it's such a miserable
That's Mike
kid.
Cohen.
That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
All right, it gets boring after this. I think we're done. Biden fell asleep by now, so the entertainment's over. It's
Yeah, that's why he didn't stand up for the ovation. Biden was sleeping.
yeah, he was crashed. He was just out like a light. Oh man.
Barron was never stood up either. He didn't have to. He was still taller than everyone, even though he was sitting down.
6'8". He's 6. It's amazing.
6'8".
Yeah, that's how tall Barron Trump is.
God, he's a tall motherfucker.
6'7". Sorry.
Oh, okay, maybe not that tall.
No, CBS said 6'8". I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh wow,
must be nice.
Yeah, he's. I mean, how much? I mean, you could stand up and blow him, right, Bell? Like straight up.
I don't know, man. It's a good question.
He had to bend his knees a little bit. You're what, 5'3"?
Yes.
It's actual audio from Barron Trump with Bell.
Is that right? Oh, yeah, that was him saying yes.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. Through God, all things are possible.
So go ahead and jot that down.
That down.
That is so profound. I'm so proud of you.
We need to have that soundbite. First off, through God, all things are possible. So go ahead and jot that down.
Yeah. You guys want to play a little game? You guys ready for a little game? Little game action. We're gonna play a game.
Who's in my mouth?
Well, nope. That's Baron and Bell. They play that together. We're gonna play a little game called The Good, the Bad, and the Unconstitutional, with regards to Donald Trump's first couple of days here in office. Let's start off on a positive note, gentlemen. The good of Donald Trump's opening executive orders. Number one has got to be, if you're anywhere in the libertarian realm,
TikTok.
No, shut up. The pardoning of one Ross Ulbricht, who Trump truth as Ross Ulbright because he misspelled it when he fucking truthed it out. That is a campaign promise kept to people that really were not a part of his crowd for a long time. And honestly, it was one of those where I went, I really hope he does this. I really hope he does this. I really hope he does this. And didn't expect him to do it.
Yes.
After he got elected. And he absolutely did it. Probably the best thing Trump's done so far in his first, whatever it is, 72 or so hours in office. For those who don't know who Ross Ulbricht is, he ran the Silk Road. The FBI went after him with a bullshit murder for hire scheme that they couldn't pin on him. And now you have some people on the left that aren't really happy about this, calling him a drug dealer. He was not a drug dealer. He ran a little bit of a black market operation, but when you're a libertarian, you understand why that's important. Also good for legal purposes, and this is really going to piss some people off on the left, and that's okay. I don't want to piss anybody off, but I'm going to say what I feel. For legal purposes, the fact that the United States government is only going to recognize two genders doesn't mean I have a problem with your identity. I don't give a shit what adults do. As you guys know, I don't care. However, from a legal perspective, it's kind of important that there are two genders. Cuts out a lot of the gray area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't care? You just don't care?
I'm not a doctor. So I don't care.
He's not a doctor.
See, the thing is, you don't need the government. You don't need the government to tell you to be nice.
And you don't need the government to affirm your identity, or at least you shouldn't.
Yeah, like
that part. You don't need the government because there are it's a silly thing like that. I think is too broad. It's government overreach.
People are going to be who they're going to be.
There are people who are intersex. I'm not talking about people who.
The guy wearing the American flag shirt says that.
I'm not talking about people who are trans. There's people like the term hermaphrodite or whatever. I don't know if that term's outdated, like Asperger's or anything like that, but
a little bit antiquated.
There are people born with
Don't get bogged down by all
a
the
downstairs mix-up that have both sides. So just because, and that's probably like 0.001%, right? It's probably almost like a non-issue, like statistically. If it's more, then I apologize to the ones that didn't include. I'm not saying this to be a slight, but
I know what's going on. You're just showing off on friggin' TV again.
But because there is that small sliver to just, oh no, it's one or the other. You got to get rid of one, I guess. Sorry, it just seems silly. It seems silly to have to waste our taxpayer dollars and waste our time to worry about that.
I agree. But
and then when it comes to being out in society or even working for a business, we Like, if somebody wants to be called one thing or the other, just don't be an asshole. If someone you call them that.
Yeah.
And then you ask for grace if it's someone you've known your entire life as one sex, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm another sex. You ask for grace while you transition with them into them.
Well, isn't
trying
that when
to
it
come
got
to terms that all of a sudden it switched on you? Because you know what I mean?
That where, Corey, isn't that where most people feel like it got crazy? Like when it was like a trans person was just like somebody who was born female that felt like they were a man, or vice versa, and they transitioned to the other sex. Like most people, even like hyper conservatives, can like at least wrap their head around that. You know what I mean? But then when it started to be like, well, actually, on this day, I'm a woman, and on this day, I'm a fucking bear, and on this day, I'm a cat. Like, that's when it got crazy. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, like, who gives? I don't give a shit if you want to be a bat. I'll just be like, hey, Batman. But like.
But do you understand, Bell, why you can't put that you identify as a bat on a fucking like like paperwork when you're at the hospital? Because if that's the case, you should go to the vet because you're at the wrong place.
Yes,
correct. If you're a cat.
So I'll call you a bat, but like, let's be real with each other. You know,
you get shot. You don't want me to take you to the vet.
Batman,
Something happens.
Girl, you're not
We're
a
drinking
bat
too much. We're drinking too much, and you fall off the porch and dislocate your hip. You're not having me take you to the vet. You're having me take you to the hospital.
100%.
I'll call you back all day long.
This is a conversation that I've had with, the handful of trans people that I personally know, where people that are genuinely trans, they just want to blend in. You know what I mean? Like they want to do their thing, and they want to pass as whatever sex they identify as, and so many of them do. You think about the Buck Angels and the Blair Whites of the world. It's the people that are just, you can tell the ones that are searching for attention. It's the guy that like still has a full beard, puts on some eyeliner and a fucking muumuu and goes, I'm a woman now. You know what I mean? Like this idea that like all trans people are created equal in that regard. It's not true. It's not reality. Like like a lot of the trans people that I associate with, which I'm not going to lie, it's not many, because it's honestly still very small segment of the population. They're like, yeah, when I go to the hospital, you say they're a trans woman that still has male parts. They're like, yeah, I still let the doctor know I have male parts because that's actually really important to how they treat me for whatever my ailment might be. Like there's a reasonable way to be a trans person, and then there's nonsense, right? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that was going to be the most controversial one that I had, and I'm going to take so much shit for that. I'm a bigot, whatever. The next good takeaway from Donald Trump's first few days in office. I'm a bigot. First day,
whatever.
First 72 hours. Because it's a word that doesn't mean anything anymore because it's been destroyed.
Racist.
The withdrawal from the WHO. Fantastic piece.
Also
legislation.
Great. Also great.
White people.
Great.
Why is this good? Because now we can have more science, because the WHO and the Anthony Fauci's of the world identified as the science, the same way Corey identifies as a cat, right? Some days, right?
Did I say that? Sometimes when I get really drunk, Dan, I say things in confidence, but I don't appreciate them. I don't appreciate them just being brought on the air and smearing my character.
Yeah, well,
I meow one time. I shit in a box one time.
He shit in his kid's sandbox one time.
So for any of you, for a tip for anyone out there who does want to decide to be a cat and shit in a box, and you think it's going to be tough to get your family to like allow that to happen, what you got to do is just shit on the floor. again and again and again.
One on top of another.
And then, no, they'll clean it up. Your family's not animals. You're the one acting like the animal. And so you just keep shitting on the floor. And then one day you finally shit in the litter box. And they will look at that as a sign of improvement.
Ew,
and
gross.
then you can just shit in the litter box.
Next good one. The expedition of fossil fuel infrastructure. Because Joe Biden said he was going to reduce our emissions by 60%, which was always a pipe dream. And anybody with half a brain knew that. Even the most green of green people knew that that was an absolute pipe dream. And Corey and I think all three of us are in the same boat when it comes to green energy. We're all for the research. We're all for trying to figure out ways to reduce emissions, but we're also, actually, I'll speak for myself on the second part of this because I don't know how you guys feel exactly. I am also for making the fuel that we have as cheap as and affordable as possible while we need it. Like, this idea that you can't do both things really drives me up a wall. Like, you can't invest in green energy mostly in the private sector is what I would shoot for as somebody who's libertarian.
Especially when everyone's wasting like a shit ton of energy just researching random dumb shit on Chat GPT and AI shit. Like, we do it all the time. I'm not saying I'm above it.
Oh yeah.
But like, we are using more energy now than ever while also trying to cut the energy source like in half because wind doesn't always blow, the sun doesn't always shine. I'm for these type of technologies, but let's be real. It's more of a NIMBY, which is not in my backyard than anything, because they're still mining for these resources, especially when it comes to solar panels. You need all these different chemical compounds and these different things like silica and things like
cobalt,
or like when the
cobalt mining,
when it comes to the batteries, cobalt. All of this stuff is just as gross as mining for coal or doing oil and stuff like that. It's just done in third world countries, so you don't have to see it in your backyard. You don't have to see the oil wells. You don't. So it's not really cleaner or better. It's just getting sanitized and then brought here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously, and also nobody wants nobody wants to live next door to a fucking solar farm. You know what I mean? Like, it's not exactly an attractive looking thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, solar farms on like solar panels on a farm, like if they raised them up, you know what I mean? Like 15, 20 feet to where like you had them strategically placed to where it's like you could have the sun's reflection like still hit crops. Like if it's pragmatic and it makes fucking sense, or like windmills on a farm, like it's a cornfield and then on that cornfield, you know, there's 15, 20 windmills. Makes complete sense. You're using the land as economically as possible and as efficient as possible. Makes sense.
Makes more sense.
Just make it all make sense. Yeah, make it all make sense.
We have to stay woke.
You know, like if you have like a sheep farm, you have a sheep farm, you put the windmills out there, or you put the solar panels out there, they have some shade, they go and they eat all the grass around the windmill or the solar panels, so you don't have to go over there and mow it. Like it's a win-win.
Last good thing I have from Trump's first 72 hours, at least as we know it before we started the show tonight, a pause on new regulations in foreign aid. I like this, not because I'm like against all regulations or anything like that. You know, even being a libertarian, I think, you know, there are places for certain regulations in certain instances when they make sense. That's why I call myself a minarchist, not an anarchist. And but particularly the pause on foreign aid. Like, can we take a second and audit this for just a minute? So I don't think I really need to explain that one a whole lot. It's just like, let's just stop the flow of money going out for just a minute and assess the situation for no other reason. I think that's actually a pretty pragmatic executive order signed by Donald Trump in his first 72 hours. You want to comment on that, or I think I pretty much covered it because unless you have something, some sort of a pushback on that.
You did a good job.
You just took a pause on foreign regulation.
On foreign
aid. On foreign aid.
Yeah.
They took our jobs.
I mean, we already if it's just a pause on new foreign aid,
right?
We just try to figure our shit out. I'm not against that. Like we already give out a shit ton of foreign aid. Like we're talking a lot.
Fucking A.
But LA's on fire and North Carolina's still in shambles.
Yeah.
Shall we get to the bad?
Let's focus on home.
We have to get to the bad because it's not all good. I'm not a Trump supporter. For those who are new to the show, I know it's kind of sounded like I have basically this entire hour. If you're new to the show, the bad blanket pardons on January 6th, and let me explain this for a second because I am fully aware and conscious of the corruption that took place within the FBI with regards to the folks who were thrown in prison over January 6th. All right. And it was a huge percentage of it was complete bullshit. However, talk to people on the ground that were actually there on January 6th that aren't, Trump sycophants and also not, cucks for the establishment. And what happened that day was a legitimate riot. I think all three of us agree on that, right? We don't call it an insurrection because that's a stupid word that doesn't mean anything anymore now because of January 6th. That just isn't what it was. But it was a riot. And when a riot takes place, there's a crime somewhere. And there are probably multiple crimes committed somewhere. When the left comes out and wants to talk about how they went in guns a-blazing and people died and officers were killed, they weren't. There were 2 officers that died after the fact, one from a stroke, the other from, I think, a heart attack or something like that. Completely indirect. There was one person killed that day. It was Ashley Babbitt. She was a protester. So I throw all of that completely out the window. However, I think you need to have a case-by-case investigation. And by the way, is it Pam Bondi that was open to a case-by-case investigation of this? And I do think most of these, I would honestly go on a limb and just throw out a random number and say, without looking at anything, probably 95% of these people should be freed. If for no other reason, obviously the first reason would be that they really actually didn't commit a crime that day. But also the other one is they probably committed a minor enough crime to where they've already served enough time to where they should obviously be released from prison. Yeah. But
there are some though that were being real assholes.
100%. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. That was, but a lot of those people, they broke windows, they trespassed, they committed
some lady.
Right. Because remember, there was 2 protests, and in the beginning, they if you remember when this happened, in the beginning, they were showing a lot of footage of the other protest as well. And that footage slowly started to slip away as the shit started to the narrative started to be built. But the Capitol Police thought that the people in the back that were rioting and trying to break in, that if they just opened the doors, they would just come in and go out the other side. But they also opened the other side. And so the people on the other side who weren't being violent and acting crazy saw the doors being opened. So they walked in. So there's this weird fucking compilation of footage of people walking through the fucking rotunda, staying inside the fucking ropes as if they're there on a fucking tour going.
They're on a field trip.
They're on a field trip. Yeah. Old women, 80 years old, just sitting there smiling for cameras because they all really thought they were supposed to fucking be there. And then on the other side, there was people being real pieces of shit.
So there's a convicted lady. They called her MAGA Granny.
The one in the purple fucking coat, right?
Yeah, so she turned down her pardon.
I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still
we
serve
broke
a purpose.
we went against the rule of law and blah,
Dude,
blah,
she
blah.
literally looked like the fucking grandma from Hey Arnold.
All senior citizens should have life alert.
Yeah, she should have because they would have known where she was when she escaped from the Wrinkle Ranch. But yeah, it's wild, and like you got to look at this objectively. And at the same time, 6 months before this, a lot of people on the other end of the political ideological spectrum were burning places down, firebombing police stations. Shit, I remember watching this shit and just being like, just a weird sense of like excitement watching the footage on Twitter, just being like, what the fuck? Like a really, really fucking nice like piano store. And you just see people are smashing windows, and then it turns and someone's in the middle of the street playing the piano just beautifully while everything around them's burning. And it's just like,
I didn't know she was black.
And then the next one is someone else at that same piano. And then like, it's just all this footage is going on, and you just keep hearing this plonk, 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 and then it turns and then someone's just banging on the keys, and then like fucking a guy just dressed as Batman walking through the smoke while all the fucking people are rioting and shit, like the footage, and then like the Michael Jackson guy on top of the car dancing and singing. Like wild shit. But the economic damage, the physical damage, and the lives lost in those protests was a hell of a lot more than it was the January 6th one. And the concerted effort of the January 6th one was way more vast than the concerted effort versus all the protests that happened. Like whole blocks, like a block in 2 different cities was taken over. Fuck Trump and all them when they try to say the whole city was taken over by Chop or all the different Chaz. It was literally like maybe the size of it, like 2 end zones to a football field. You know what I mean? Like it was media sensation playing it up way bigger than it was. But that shit was happening.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
That's right.
And it's like, and so it puts you at a crossroads, right? It's like, do you want all those people on your side who didn't get arrested in mass arrests to not be mass arrested, but then also show some sort of like equal end of the law, and then let the other side get their pass too? Or do you want all them locked up, and then do you want all your people locked up as well?
No,
it's not one or the other. Because if your idea, if your
only the other side is bad.
If your answer is one or the other, then you need to check your bias.
Check your privilege.
Yeah, well, nothing says white privilege like the president fucking pardoning you for fucking breaking windows on the Capitol building.
You want to know what the worst one is though? Because that was
no, he didn't. That's just boys being boys. He didn't mean it.
Yeah, they're just being silly gooses.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
The other bad one that I had from these first 72, and there are probably more, but like I'm just, a lot of executive orders were signed. But this is another one I saw that is just so not good because of the implications of it. And I know the MAGA crowd loves this one. But declaring the Mexican cartels as terrorist groups has a lot of downstream negative effects, potentially. Because what I don't think the MAGA crowd understands on this one is I don't hate this, like the principle of it, because you want to reduce the amount of fentanyl and whatever coming into the country, but there's another way to affect that change, which is stop with this stupid quasi drug war. That's the first thing. But also, when you declare that Mexican cartels are a terrorist organization, that gives the president a lot of power that I'm not comfortable with any president having at all. It gives you essentially the ability,
order of consequences.
It gives the president essentially the ability to send the military into Mexico to deal with the cartels. And I know there are a lot of people out there that say, well, that sounds good to me. Let's get rid of them.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's like
that's
not
so
good.
That's one example. Another example would be you just being a friend with an illegal because you are a legal American citizen working on a farm and your boss hired an illegal.
Mhm.
Okay. All of a sudden, this person
That
happens to be.
that has a tie to the cartel from some.
Then all of a sudden, you're
Yeah.
ensnared and you're an accomplice. You know what I mean? Like this, just the broad brushstroke when it comes to terrorism. Like when you look up all the stories of all these Middle Eastern and all these Arabic people and all these Muslim people in our country who were just American citizens, but because you slap that terrorist label on and people lose all their rights. Innocent people, a lot of innocent people lost their rights as an American just because of the color of their skin and the broadness of the reach of just
And the fact that
label.
As you said, Corey, and the fact that they worked with somebody who was suspected of being tied to Al Qaeda,
Yeah,
or something.
Like you know the
that.
Patriot Act. You guys are like, I'm sure everyone knows what the Patriot Act is at this point.
It's my favorite.
We all live within 100 miles of
Best piece of
a border.
legislation ever, Bell.
You designate the cartel as terrorists. Now the government has just carte blanche to just look at anyone's fucking phones or like their houses
Corey,
or surveil because you're within 100 miles of a border.
Not to mention
the Border Patrol has a 100-mile jurisdiction from the border. Like all of Michigan, Border Patrol has any jurisdiction they want.
Yeah, and not to mention
Florida too.
Let's be very clear from a definitional perspective. Okay, I'm no fan of the Mexican drug cartels. I don't like what they do.
Not even
however,
to be said. Yeah, it needs to be said. That's stupid.
However, but no, I have to say that because I have to preface it. I have to preface that because of what I'm about to say. They're not terrorists. They're not terrorists by definition. All they really are, you want to be really, really honest about what they are? They're black market capitalists. That's what they are. They're black market capitalists. They are providing a product that people want that is illegal in the United States that they can sell.
Someone asked if that's the far reach, and I don't remember what I said. It could have been.
I don't know. Was it the comparison of Al Qaeda to the cartels? Because that is a far reach, as I just pointed out. The cartels, that's not a
right. No, I'm saying what I'm saying is designating them as a terrorist group could potentially ensnare a lot of innocent Americans who are just affiliated with an illegal immigrant. Because if there's everyone would be sus.
Yeah, that's
I don't think that is a far reach. You look it up. There was a lot of Muslims that were ensnared because of the fact that the Patriot Act was going through. Like they would find someone who might have been like accidentally related to a terrorist in Afghanistan who had no idea because they lived in America and they're second generation, and they said something that was criticizing the American government, which is supposed to be protected by the First Amendment. And then they would get ensnared and just be questioned. And even if it's something as simple as having to go in and be questioned or the FBI showing up your house, that's fucking scary. No one doesn't want that. And then on top of that, it's not a far reach because the Patriot Act itself already can illegally search and go through any of our shit at any time without having to exercise the Fourth Amendment of getting a warrant.
Was it section 702, which by the way, Tulsi is a fan of now? Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
See? But I'm gonna move like this so you can't see your name on my wall. But no, yeah, the Patriot Act, like Edward Snowden, was that's why he's in Russia and he still hasn't been pardoned because he exposed the whole gambit. But yeah, like if you look up, let's say, like I'm sure I'm already on list because I've used this example. You look up the word fertilizer, it's a tag at the NSA. Bing. And then they just look at a couple more of your searches, right? And it could be a bunch of porn, and then some fucking 20-year-old who works for the NSA is just chuckling because you were looking at porn. But
fertilizer porn?
It's that basic. Well,
it's hot.
Well, fertilizer can be used to make bombs and stuff like that, right? And I'm explaining it just for the audience.
Take forever to say nothing.
And so there's key words that are searches that give the government access to your private information without your acknowledgement and without following the proper procedures of obtaining a warrant and things like that. So expanding on that, and all of a sudden now you have the Mexican cartel. Now a far reach would be say that 16-year-old Corey who was buying brick weed that came from Mexico in Detroit from a guy named Q who had no business being in Detroit at 6-year-old, just going, "Thank you, sir. I could have been ensnared at 16 years old because I had a connection to a fucking cartel." But no, weed's legal here now. And that's a reach. But I
do have an off the air. Maybe we can talk about it on the show, but we're not going to do it now. But apparently, I was involved in an international drug scam. Like,
okay, so that was really a question. So I hope I answered it like in my clunky way of speaking, but
I don't know.
Anything that circumvents the Constitution under the guise of security needs to be set right a little bit.
And that's a great segue because I have my number one. We did the good of takeaways from Trump's inauguration. We did the bad. I now have the unconstitutional, the good, the bad, and the unconstitutional.
And see, Dan, everyone does that weird caveat thing. Remember how we were saying the caveat where you said you were talking about how we don't think this is good for the cartel. But I have to say that I'm not a fan of the cartel. This poor guy, he goes, so I am a Republican, but not MAGA. Yeah, like you're in a safe space, bud.
God, even if you are MAGA, we don't care. So the unconstitutional ending birthright citizenship. Donald, you don't just get to change the Constitution.
I don't think that
was an executive order.
Yeah. That's one of those ones that politicians love to do just to say that they're trying to do what their constituents hired them for. It's going to go to the Supreme Court and it's going to get challenged, and he's just going to get to go, "Oh, shucks. Darn it. Yep. Well, I tried, guys."
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's what's so weird about the small faction of Trump sycophants. It's just about the attempt to get it done. And then he can turn around and go, "Well, the federal government stopped me." It's fine. It's all good. What did Kid say now? Not concerned with what people think, just come from a different direction. We get it. We are too.
He's a true center rep, or at least tried to be. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of nuance, and being in the center is probably where more people should be. Honestly.
I'm gonna finish up the inauguration with this, and if you guys have any other comments, you can deliver them. But my takeaway from the inauguration and the first, I don't know, whatever it's been now, 72 hours of Trump's second term, people can say whatever they want. I'm no Trump fan, as I have to throw that caveat out there. However, I will say that
we're gonna have to say that a lot the next 4 years.
Yeah, we are. Trump and his team have shown to be very, very determined. It seems as though they have a plan, for better or worse. Whether you like it or hate it, doesn't matter. They seem to have a plan, for whatever that means to you, just in this amount of time. And this is, I took this note yesterday, so who knows how much this has changed from then to to us talking about it now, but 200-ish executive orders within this amount of time, which I'm no fan of because I think the executive branch has way too much power. Some of them, as we've talked about, we're fans of. I'm fans of some that you're not fans of. You're fans of some I'm not fans of. It doesn't really matter. But there really does seem to be some semblance of competency. Is that the right word to use here? As far as at least having a plan that they want to execute, whether or not it works, whether or not it's a good idea.
I guess they could use the word ambition, not competency, but ambition.
I think those two words go hand in hand.
Well, the competency is very subjective, though. The ambition is pretty it's whether even when you got someone who's not good at sports, but they're sure trying.
I mean, but
hey,
you have to
at
admit,
least
though,
he's trying.
Trump couldn't enter the presidency without one last grift with that meme coin.
And he made one for his wife too. That's so funny. I don't know if they made them though. I think they might have just been made.
Well,
but I'm sure. I know that the Trump coin is him because
he made a lot of money on that. And I look at that and I go, if you lost money on that, that says so much more about you than it does about Donald Trump.
It's like someone betting on the Lions in the NFC Championship.
Trump's a grifter, and he's really good at it. And it's like, if you were the idiot that lost money on that coin, it says so much more about you than it does about Trump.
The actor says, "I can't wait for the next 4 years." Honestly, we can't either. It's going to make our jobs a hell of a lot easier.
It's so fucking fun.
President who's actually press conferences every day makes the job of just bullshitting about this stuff.
Really does. Just gives us so much material for better and for worse.
Yeah, we got one from Biden. Like we've had more press conferences from Trump in these 2 days than we. They're all clean.
What?
All
of them.
But probably laundry. But
Ew, gross.
we got we got like zero. We got zero press conferences with Biden. So I hope for the best. I'm apathetic towards the worst. It's almost like people who lived through World War I and World War II in a sense, because like now we're just shell shocked. We already dealt with 4 years of Trump. We got another 4 years.
Honestly,
I don't have TDS this time. Let's
expect
go. Whatever.
I don't either. I fully expect, just like Trump's first 4 years from an economic perspective, I do think we're going to see some some sort of a short-term boom with down the road consequences. Right. And Trump doesn't care about that, the down the road consequences part, because he'll be out of office and he'll get to, whoever's next, whether it's a Democrat or JD Vance or whoever the fuck comes in 2028, it won't matter. He'll take credit for the short-term boom, and he'll pass on the down the road consequences from the poor policy that he puts through on somebody else, as all presidents do. Nobody's different.
I honestly hope, like Wicked again says, I honestly hope with all the hate, both self-predicated and what was conspired, I hope he does good for us. We do too. Yeah. I mean, like, it's
not holding our breath, but we do too.
We all live here. We hope he doesn't turn the place into a dump. Like,
for real.
Fucking white people.
Ew, gross.
Did you want to go off on red note here for a minute, Corey, to end the show? Because so that's... during the short-term TikTok ban, Corey did take the leap and jumped into the ultimate backfire of idiotic protectionist policy.
Yeah, I might have signed up for the Red Army. I'm not sure. I couldn't read Mandarin for the terms of service agreement, but it was a fascinating journey. And
Corey's a red now. He's a Chinese red.
No.
Well, you're not that smart. I know what's going on. You're just showing off on friggin' TV again.
The interactions, like it was really refreshing. Like there was points where like it did bring a little bit of a tear to my eye, because watching this digital Berlin Wall come down, it was like the hand coming through the concrete. And people the Chinese people's humor, the graciousness, the things they enjoy.
Look at that. It says TikTok.
I'm not talking about TikTok.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
Everything is like they're
I'm listening
like us. They're so much like us. And it was just like, and like obviously people are people, right? But it's just like everyone's in the comments making videos talking about like food prices and gas prices and rental prices and all these different things, and they're damn near comparable to us. some people in China are really well off. Some people in China are not doing so hot. Some people in China are doing okay. And it's like their day-to-day livings and all the different stuff and talking to them. And then all of these people, though, the America, like, okay, let me see how I formulate this. A lot of Americans hopped into this app. A lot of Americans hopped into this app and were just dog shitting America because they would comment on one of 1.4 billion Chinese people's like lives that they posted in their little video, and they're doing okay. So you get a few Americans hopping in and going, "Wow, America's not like this. Wow, this place, America fucking sucks." And da 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 da. And it's like, at first I was trying to hop in and be like, well, no, it looks like it is for you guys, right? Some Americans have it good, some Americans have it bad. And they're like, do some Americans really work 2 to 3 jobs? And it's like, yes, but these ones that are typically working 2 to 3 jobs are still working the same amount as someone who works 1 job with a lot of overtime. It's just those jobs don't afford the overtime, so they get a second job. And like explaining things like this, and they're like, oh, okay, so it's kind of like here when someone just works long hours at 1 job, and like they're talking about the hours and the pay. And yeah, they all party, they all go out and get drunk. Some of them are talking about how they use VPNs.
Chicken fingers all the time, all right?
Like some of them are still like being fucking like rebels like an American and saying fuck the government and using VPNs and shit like that. Some of them are like, yeah, I'm on Instagram, I have to go through a VPN. And I'm thinking, dude, I don't know if you're allowed to say that on here. And so it shows that they don't have as much fear of their government as like our propaganda tries to send to us. But when you go on, like,
there's too many of them.
All of these people were talking like, yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't really know that the TikTok ban was happening. And then everyone just hopped on our app and like, and we're just meeting all these Americans. So all these people, a lot of them speak English too, because it's taught there. And a lot of them are like, hi, welcome TikTok refugees. And that's what they kept cheating,
they're crooked, they're corrupt.
They were calling all of us TikTok refugees. And then some of them were like doing like, they were like a guide. They're like, just so you know, when you come here, this isn't like TikTok. This is a Chinese government app. So you aren't allowed to criticize the Chinese government while you're on here. And they were talking about that. But they don't give a shit if you criticize the American government.
Well, sure. Dirty
Right?
reds.
Because it fits their propaganda. And then it's like all these people are on there bitching about our government on an app, or the 2 people who aren't allowed to bitch about their government saying how it seems like it's nicer there without seeing the fucking irony. That the roles would never, ever be reversed.
Right. That's great. That's so true. And like, if I could jump in for just a second here, like that's why I called that could you imagine if TikTok was still down and more people as an act of defiance were going onto Red Note? It's like, this is why protectionist policy doesn't get you what you want. When you take away something like TikTok and everybody realizes the bullshit reasons why you're doing it, because the Chinese Communist Party is so dangerous and scary, even though all you have to do is ask ChatGPT who owns TikTok, and it will tell you straight up 60% foreign nationals, 20% TikTok employees, including thousands of Americans, and then 20% something else. And then the dreaded, scary golden share of 1% that TikTok has. And that's supposed to be the scary thing. But
well, here's another thing too, Dan, that no one talks about.
When you look into what the golden share does, all it does is gives the CCP veto power over things like acquisitions, over things like stock splits, like company related issues. ByteDance still owns the data of TikTok. The Chinese Communist Party does not own the data.
Do you know where they keep that data? Do you know where they keep that data?
In the United States.
Yes. And you know who bought a bunch of Meta stock before the ban went into place? Damn near every single fucking congressman.
Yeah. So who owns? So when you're talking about governments owning companies, who owns more, the United States government of the American social media platforms or the Chinese government of TikTok?
Right.
It's the former.
Yeah.
So like it's not like the security issue.
To the point that there is like there is a lot of propaganda on there.
The latest on Red Note?
What? Yeah, on Red Note. But here's the thing. There's a lot of it. But it's not.
It's transparent, it seems like. It's very transparent.
Actually, I would say the opposite.
Okay.
It's no more transparent than American propaganda.
All right.
Military videos of our military strength and these cool ass videos of jets doing spins in the air and fucking doing wild shit in the air and big husky fucking not husky's the wrong word, big muscular fucking soldiers doing some wild shit and yeah, not husky. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's that shit. And they hate the Japanese. Oh boy, they really fucking hate the Japanese. They call it the Great Humiliation. They have not forgot World War II. They did not. Let me reassure that. What else I got here? And then other little propaganda things like talking about the American obesity rate.
Mm-hmm.
But Americans in American fashion is the funniest fucking thing, dude. There's these TikToks about talking about American obesity rate, and then just a flood of American comments going, "Damn, you mean to tell me these guys have been talking shit about us the whole time, calling us big back, and we're not even here?" Like, just fucking making jokes, and then all of them, "I'm sorry, we're not talking about you." Like, they're all like trying to be like super nice because the Chinese are taught that like you're an ambassador for the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so yeah, and then a lot of Americans posting videos of guns. So like that's a thing now. And now they know like, that a lot of Americans own guns. And then so there was one video this guy was posting all of his guns. And then someone commented, and I think they were Chinese. And it just says, "Do you sell them?" And I responded, "Damn, the fucking FBI is already on Redbook." And then, like I had like hundreds of these fucking Chinese people laughing because they got the fucking joke.
Yeah, that's great.
And then anytime an American would comment on things, Chinese people they had a thing, they called it the cat tax. They just wanted to see everyone's pets and cats. And so like anytime an American would post something, never like a video of them dancing, it would be a Chinese person going, "That's cool and all. Let me see your cat." Like they're just talking shit, like just like we do, dude. It was fucking wild to see. And then people talking about like what I was talking about.
If you don't show them a cat, instead you show them a dog, do they start salivating? Do they have like a fork and knife?
No, a lot of them were making jokes, being like, "Guys, chill. Not all of us eat cats and dogs." Like they were just being funny, and then sharing videos of like from Rush Hour when Chris Tucker's in China. He's or Hong Kong, yeah, and he's like trying to talk to them, and then it's like people
China
trying
now.
to speak Chinese, and they're yelling at each other. These Chinese people are posting the fuck out of this, going Americans showing up to Red Note, like, like it was really funny shit, dude. Like I'm still going on there because it's fucking hilarious.
Well, and that's like Corey, you brought up a huge point that like I think we bring up on this show a lot, which is that like and I think you guys would both agree with me when I say this, like we love the West as far as a society. And I personally don't want to live in any other society than what the West offers. However,
not even the West, uniquely America. We wouldn't be able to do what we do on our show here.
I'm just saying the West is just to generalize it a little more, but like, because it all kind of ties together. But it's this idea of American hegemony where it's like, the Western way of life, and if you want to even say in particular the American way of life, is the only way that everybody should live across the globe. It's why we have to go take the oil from the Middle East. It's why we have to, it's why we have to do nation building in Iraq and all the other bullshit. And it's like just trying to get Americans to understand that like we can live our way. It's all good. We all love it. We wouldn't want to change anything. Nobody wants to leave. You're wearing a fucking American flag shirt right now as we sit here. Because we're the people that sit here and go, we love our country, we hate our government. And I think that's okay. And that is so uniquely American, and we're allowed to do that because it's what allows us to hold our government accountable. The Chinese people don't fucking have to live that way. And it doesn't mean we can't trade with them. Because what does trade do? What does trade do? Trade begets peace every single fucking time. And that's why Donald Trump tariffs are not a good idea. Go ahead.
And this red note interaction, and it's funny because neither government's fucking talking about it. They don't fucking like that shit. You have millions of Chinese and Americans for the first time ever engaging on a personal level, not through an ambassador, not through a filtered narrative through a mainstream media, not through anything else. You had Americans and Chinese people using translators to communicate and just bullshit. And the humor is absolutely like astounding. I learned how to say I don't give a shit in Mandarin. And to learn that, it's Quan Wo Pi Shi.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. Like when I saw all the and it's funny because then it made me check my propaganda indoctrination, because when I was on there and I see all these other Americans who don't even realize the privilege that they have to talk shit about their government, when the Chinese are literally telling them not to talk shit about their government and we're not allowed to do that, and Americans are in there doing that, bitching because like not everything here is great for some people, which is justifiably something that we do need to work on.
Sure.
But they also bitch about it here, and it makes our government realize that they need to do better, which is great.
Life isn't about getting drunk and eating chicken fingers all the time, all right?
There's still a lot of Americans. That's what makes America America. You see this fucking flag? These colors don't run. This shirt is, however. This shirt
unless you throw it in the wash with some.
Yeah, however, yeah. This shirt is dry clean only, because if I throw it in the washer, these colors in fact do run.
So they absolutely run.
That one's so fucking gross. We gotta nix that one.
No, I love this one. Let me play it one more time.
Oh, gross. Oh, dude, come on. But
I just love the epic. I love the epic pause from the initial squirt, and you're just like waiting for the rest of the load to drop.
But yeah, at first I was like, dude, then realized we are privileged in the fact that we can go on a communist app. Americans had the ability to go on a communist app when they're not even allowed to leave their apps and come to American apps.
Without a VPN.
Without a VPN, and talk shit about our country. And them over there aren't allowed to go on our apps or do that on their own apps for that matter. Another one I thought was fucking hilarious was like Americans are just fucking like, and did you see any of the side note? Did you see any of the TikToks of people from other countries talking about TikTok when America was gone? And they're all talking about how like they missed us and how it was kind of boring and all this shit. And but there was this video, this it looks like either like a crossing guard.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
And he was letting kids out of cars that pulled up for school. And this cop's walking up to every car and opening the door and helping the kids out and making sure traffic is like clear and stuff. And an American comments and goes, "Geez, cops never helped me out of a cop car in America. They only put me in them." Americans were literally just fucking. But dude, and the Chinese were just straight right in with it, man, having a blast doing the same shit.
Oh, it's almost like humans are not that different, isn't it? Bizarre.
Right. Yeah, no, it was a really good reminder. It was a nice shot of like empathy and culture and just and gave me more faith in humanity.
And how people are just allowed to have different cultures. It's just okay.
Right.
You know, the West doesn't have to own the world.
But again, they do not like the Japanese. Like, I'm glad I'm not Japanese when I was in there, because like.
But wait a minute. I thought bigotry was uniquely American, Corey. I thought only Americans were bigots.
No, only Americans think that. Only Americans believe in that type of American exceptionalism, buddy.
Yeah. The American exceptionalism of the fact that Americans are the only ones.
We're the only ones that are racist. and well, at the same time, that's what makes America beautiful, is we actually have to deal with that, and like actually have to have those conversations and deal with it, because we are a melting pot and have to live day to day with different cultures. I don't think there's very many Japanese living in China.
Oh, shit, buddy. I got to dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe. So you got to be kidding me. I got boxes full of Pepe.
Do we have anything else? I wanted to get into, we're getting a little long in the tooth, but I really wanted to dig into the Sam Husseini and Max Blumenthal giving shit to Anthony Blinken at his last.
Yes.
I can play the videos real quick. I can play the videos real quick. We can end with this because, I mean, I'm not as familiar with Sam. I've seen him a little bit, but I mean, we are huge fans of Max Blumenthal on this show. Where is it? Here we go. Max Blumenthal. I'll play Max here real quick. Just I love the way that he gave a wonderful little send off to our warmonger pal Anthony Blinken.
300 reporters in Gaza were on the receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal in May? We all knew we had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing. Why did you sacrifice the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism? Why did you allow my friends to be massacred? Why did you allow my friends' homes in Gaza to be destroyed when we had a deal in May? You helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating it with fascism. You waved the white flag before Netanyahu. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
We'll have the time to take questions
Your
at the end.
father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you
True.
compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirked through the whole thing every day. You smirked through a genocide.
Thank you.
And so I guess to the point of like only the Chinese and the Russians and whoever the enemy is of the time censoring journalists. You know, notice how Max was booted from there because he spoke the truth.
Well, he did cause a scene, but
it's a reality. What? How else was he supposed to get his point across?
No, I'm not.
Well, no. I understand what you're saying, but like, if you're Anthony Blinken, you know what you do in that situation? If you don't want to look like the fucking authoritarian that you are, if you're Anthony Blinken, you tell those people, nope, let him go, and let him speak. That's what you do, and then you answer his fucking question. That's what you do. But Anthony Blinken is a fucking pussy.
You pull a Bernie Sanders and let him take the mic.
Piece of shit, genocide loving, warmongering piece of shit that he is. And congratulations to Marco Rubio, who is going to be the same fucking thing. So that's another bad, I guess, from Trump. You want me to play Sam Husseini real quick, or do you have something to say about Blinken before I do that?
No, I'm 100% to what he said.
Because Max is one of the best out there. So this was Sam Husseini. This one's been making the rounds. A lot of people have seen this.
Max now is a part of Ryan Grimm's thing, right?
They interview each other a lot. Max Blumenthal, I think, is still Gray Zone, right? I think Max is part of Gray Zone.
Yeah, Aaron Monte used to be a part of the Intercept, right? Or was it Max
I don't remember. It all runs together. They're all homies and they're all doing good work. But yeah, this was Sam Husseini. I got this angle because this video was kind of taken from behind him. But watch how the whoever it is, the security guards or whoever, they're already getting ready to grab him before he even starts speaking here. I think he had already raised a little bit of a scene before this, and that's why they were there, just to put a little context on it. But here we go. They're already waiting. Look at it. He's not even speaking yet. And they're trying to kick him out.
Unjustly held hostage and bringing them home, returning them to their families, returning them to their loved ones. Finally,
get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me.
Now he's making a little bit of a scene.
You know about the Hannibal Directive, you know about Israel's nuclear weapons, everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me.
He really didn't say shit.
I think he had before that, and they were kind of preparing, but still. Respect the process.
Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
This really is unnecessary.
Please respect the process.
Oh, respect the process. Respect the process. Well, everybody from Amnesty International, to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination. You're telling me to respect the process. Criminal. Why aren't you in the Hague?
As he says, he's just being cradled out like a baby. I'm telling you, I love it.
Finally, we've worked to modernize our diplomacy so that we're more agile.
Finally, he just goes back to this is just it, man. Like it's just completely fucking unnecessary. We can argue about what genocide is. I don't like talking about that because of you start arguing semantics of like, well, what do you consider genocide? The fact of the matter is what Israel is doing to Gaza is unjustified, and we know this. Completely unjustified. We know this. Genocide or not, war crimes, for sure. And Anthony Blinken doesn't have to answer any of these questions because he has his goons taking out the only fucking reporters that have anything to say.
There's 30 other in there, and none of them did shit.
Because they're all
They don't want to lose access. They don't want to lose access.
Every single one of them is a shill for the government, to your point, Corey. And one of those reasons is because they don't want to lose access to their people, to the access to that room. And what do these shills say about people like Sam Husseini and Max Blumenthal? They go on shows that are on, CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC and call them quote unquote fringe journalists. And if you think I'm kidding, look it up. These guys are people that have been in journalism for decades reporting on this stuff. They just use these buzzwords like fringe to take away their credibility.
They're not one of us. They're not one of us.
They're out there. Fuck Anthony Blinken. Fuck him to the moon, bro. Fuck him.
Did
I say fuck him? Fuck him.
Yeah. You said that. You said you wanted to fuck him, yes.
Ukraine will become a member of NATO.
Fuck you, Blinken. Fuck you.
Go
ahead.
Who was it? It was Matt Taibbi when he was in that hearing when it came to the Twitter files. And they all kept calling him a so-called journalist. And when he's been a journalist for like 20 fucking years writing for the Rolling Stone.
And a very good one. What was it? Was he the election? What do they call it? It was the same position that Hunter S. Thompson had for the Rolling Stone, the election reporter or whatever. I can't remember the title.
Yeah, the election correspondent or something like that.
Yeah, he had the same title as Hunter S. Thompson. Something that everybody agrees is like one of the best journalists of all time, but he's a so-called journalist. Fuck you. Fuck all of you.
Yeah.
To the moon.
To the moon, Alice.
And back. You have anything else, Corey? You have any closing remarks? You have any Jerry Springer closing notes?
I don't.
Great documentary on Netflix, by the way, about the Springer show.
I've been meaning to watch that one, actually. Lions lost. That fucking sucks, huh?
Backward down the field.
Yeah. I was really hoping that we could come in here and play that song.
I bet you were.
Yeah. I love to play my songs for my bands, or not for my bands, but for my teams, whatever. They do a good job. And you know what I really forgot? You know what I also forgot to play? This one when I was talking about America.
Too late now.
It's too late now. So that's it. The Assertive Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is absurdiveshow.com.
Fat
We can be found at Libsertive Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibsertivePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
I don't even know what he said.
You're fired. Get out of here.
Well, the body snatcher on the ones and twos.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Has been Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
Been Libservative Intellectual Idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. And until next time, we are out of here.
Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people